First of all, thanks for accepting the invite.
No problem.
How are you doing?
Yeah, very good. Very good. Whereabouts in the world are you?
Right now I'm in Paris.
Oh, very pleasant. Okay, I'm at home in Toronto.
So I thought you were British.
Yeah, I am. That's the accent that you hear,
right?
For sure. But I've lived in Toronto and Canada now for 13 years.
Oh, see, that's why when Catherine, yeah, when she arranged the time, at first she was like, "Oh yeah, we're like on the eastern or so." I was thinking, really? I mean, you're in England, right? I was very confused. But it makes sense. I mean, today's travel not that big an issue.
Yeah.
So I have to say, the reason I started following you, okay, you and I have a mutual friend on on LinkedIn, Chase Hugh.
Yeah, Chase. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Yeah. And that's how I first came across you.
Okay, good.
And usually when someone says, they're a body language expert, I don't really, a lot of people say a lot of stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
But I followed and it seemed like you knew what you were talking about overall, but
I would hope so by now.
No, but I'm saying from the beginning, I said, okay, he knows what he's talking about, seems interesting. We're good. But then I saw a video. I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about. The one where you said that your authentic self. You don't really want people to be authentic. I just looked at it. I sent the link to my business partner. I was like, David, you have to see this guy. He is us. He is incredible. Like in the sense where we try to be nice. We're in sales originally, right? Yeah. But we keep to ourselves being very authentic. So it was beautiful. I loved it. So please tell us about your background. Just that.
Yeah. So. My background. Well, how far should we go back? As a kid, I was really obsessed with natural history, especially sea life. Obsessed with movement, how things move, how things behave. That turned into an obsession with human movement, and especially how we tell stories with pictures, how pictures affect the stories that we have in our head about the world and about people and about ourselves. I got really into visual art and how those images tell stories, and then moved into politics and business and using my understanding of how our movement can change the narrative in people's heads, using that to affect the way that people present themselves and their ideas, most often in business.
Okay. And so how did you, because now you've written a few books, right? You're a speaker. Mm. So how did it evolve from this is your interest to this is your business?
Yeah, well, let's think, about 20 years ago, maybe, people started coming to me from the business world and going, can you help us get our stories across? We know the work that you do in the arts world around, helping getting stories across. Can you help us get our stories across? And when I saw what people were doing in the business world, I realized just how low the bar was. It was, there was stuff that they just didn't know, and I didn't really understand. Why don't they know just some of the fundamentals of the judgments that other people make about you, given specific movement that you make? And I was, fully in that area and really already expert in that area of the arts. So all I needed to do, transition what I was doing there into business, and it just kicked off. And then publishers asked me to write books on this, and so I'm 4 books in on human behavior and body language.
Very nice. See, because now I'll explain a little bit more from our side, the interest in this. We come from a sales and negotiation background. Okay, a part of that is also very much how you present yourself. How you affect the way people think, how they behave, the decisions they're going to make. Okay, now I fell into it. Unlike you, I completely fell into this. Okay, I did not realize that this would become my future. It was just how to make a quick buck when I was 18 years old, and from there just developed. Yeah. But as you say, you come across a lot of people who oftentimes I'm astounded. How do you not know this? This is so simple, right? So let me ask you, do you work with individuals also or only companies?
I work with individuals and companies, so I can If I'm doing a keynote speech, for example, I could be speaking to, I don't know, 7,000 people in some cases, or a few hundred, or I'm working with teams, small teams, or I'm working one-on-one, sometimes even just like this over video conference,
really,
to help people. But most often, it's in person, but there's quite a lot more that is happening just like this now.
All right. And so is your, you know what, let me ask you a different question. What do you think from the people that you've worked with is the one thing that most people don't realize, which to you is so basic? I'm trying to get a free tip for people.
Well, things like simple things like symmetry, that our brain favors symmetry. Why would it favor symmetry? Because once it's realized that one side of you stays very consistent with the other side of you, it stops reading one of the sides, because it just goes, that's going to stay the same. But when you become asymmetrical, it becomes, especially when the asymmetry moves, it becomes more difficult for the brain to work out how the body is going to be, because it keeps on changing. And then it realizes, wow, that's going to take up a lot of energy for my brain to keep reading this. And so sometimes it just checks out, and it just goes, I don't want to do this. It's too much effort. So we often don't realize just how important symmetry is rather than asymmetry.
Well, but let me ask you a question. As someone who has a lot of facial expressions when I talk, and when I listen also, as you can probably tell, I cannot say that it's symmetrical. I mean, usually, there's one side that's going up, the other side that's going sideways. Would you say that I should work on that?
No, well, I mean, there's no point in. Listen, the face is really difficult to control. So trying to get everything absolutely symmetrical will just be a bit weird. But what you could work on is that your gestures are more symmetrical more of the time. If you'd like your audience or whoever's watching you to feel very, very comfortable around you. Actually, let me just put some asymmetry in the face for you. And at the moment, my face will be pretty symmetrical because I've got my head directly onto the camera. I'm going to make it a little less symmetrical for you now, and talk to you now. I'm still going to get good eye contact with you, but do you feel different about the judgments that you're making about me and the meaning that I have behind my words? I've got pretty much the same tone of voice. I'm talking at about the same speed, but does it feel a little bit different to you? And now I'm just going to pull my head back to symmetry.
Yeah, this is much nicer.
Is there a difference for you?
No,
it's much nicer.
Yeah, it is.
But I'm no different. I'm not a different person, but your brain's going, one of Mark, the symmetrical Mark is nicer than the asymmetrical. Well, no, it's not. It's the same person. One is more difficult for your brain. That's all. And what your brain does is go, have a preference for the easier one to comprehend.
Okay. I like it. Now, here's something, that in sales, you see how it really affects your personal life also, right? I mean, when I work with someone in sales, usually they'll come back, after a few months, they'll be like, oh my God, my life is so different. Actually, it happened to me in Russia, where two African guys who were working in Russia, which is, I'm going to be completely politically incorrect, yes, but Russia tends to be a more pale country. And they were able to get so many more dates now, these two guys from the office. I was like, oh my God, they're never going to let me back in Russia now because of you. But so when you work one-on-one with people, do they ever come back to you and they're like, this has actually changed, improved my personal life also? I would assume yes.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yes, and quite instantly as well, because the techniques are very, very simple. And you either do them or you don't do them, and it's kind of up to you. It's if you want to do them, very simple. If you want to forget to do them, sure, you can totally forget to do them. But if you do them, things change radically. You notice very quickly how people's engagement with you changes, how they're how the positivity of their engagement changes, how you feel about yourself, because you're using your body now in a more confident way, and also people are reacting to that, and they're giving you feedback. So your brain starts to see a different world, and essentially you start living in a different world, a more positive, more useful world for you. So yeah, very quickly. I mean, if you, if you head to my LinkedIn profile and just, often I put videos up there and people will comment on the videos.
I
and you'll
love
always get somebody, yeah, and you'll always get one or two people going, yeah, I've been doing this for a month now and everything's changed. So what's brilliant is this transformational element that comes with changing your body language. It is actually way more impactful and radical than trying to change your state of mind.
Yeah.
So that's pretty tricky. But the state of mind can change radically if you change your body language.
That I tend to agree with you. I mean, even without, because it's one of the things that they say, if you're not feeling great, for example, go out, take a walk. Why? Because most people think the emotion comes first, then the action. But the truth is that the opposite is just as true. Oftentimes the action first.
Right. Well, what you've done there by go and take a walk, what the most radical thing that's happened actually, rather than it just because people go, walking's good and you'll get more air in your lungs. And yeah, that's all true. But what's the most radical thing? The radical thing is you have changed your environment.
Okay.
You have taken yourself into another place.
Mm-hmm.
And your environment is the biggest indicator of how you're going to behave.
Yes.
Not your mindset. Take the same mindset and put it in a different environment, a radically different environment, and that mindset could disappear. Yeah. And now there's a different mindset there. Because I was doing this, so it changed my mind. It was probably the environment that changed your mind.
But is that taking away from personal responsibility, though? Bit philosophical, but
not really. It's my responsibility. Look, I'm going. Look, I'm back again. It's like, it's that easy. Who was responsible for going? Me. Yeah, I was responsible.
Okay.
Who was responsible for getting up and taking a walk? I was responsible.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not like the conscious mind isn't there, but what you're doing is using the conscious mind in order to create a different environment for you, and that knowing that environment will cascade unconsciously a huge amount of more beneficial behaviors.
So let me ask you two questions. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's related to your business, and one which is actually a little bit different. Related to your business, you give out a lot of free information, an incredible amount, right? Do you feel that may be taking away from potential clients?
No, because without giving away a huge amount of information, how do they know that I'm helpful? Without helping, how do they know that I'm helpful? So I realized this pretty early on when I started this business. When I first started working in this area, I was very much, people would ask me, what do you do? Well, I help people stand out, win trust, gain credibility every time they're speaking. Do that with body language. And they'd be like, well, okay, well, how'd you do that? I mean, what? And they'd say things like, what should I do to be more confident? And I go, well, you'd have to be my client for me to tell you that.
Right.
You'd have to pay me. I can't just give you the, and they go, oh, okay, yeah. And they would never be a client. And then I was down at my local market and noticing that there was one of the butchers was cooking sausages and giving small pieces of the sausage.
Okay. Yeah.
Away.
Yeah.
Okay. And I realized that if, the butcher giving the sausages away at the front of the market where somebody first comes in, if they manage to get a piece of sausage in somebody's mouth, on the whole, the person would buy a whole bunch of sausages, and they'd never get to the back of the market where there are probably better sausages. I don't know. They've already got sausages. And anyway, it doesn't matter if they've got better sausages, because that person had tasted that sausage, and that element of that sausage was good enough for them. It's like, and it was at the right time, just as they're walking into the market going, I want to eat great food. So I said, and look, yes, Absolutely. If the person keeps coming, if I keep coming to the market every week and taking a piece of sausage, eventually I may well have the whole sausage. In my case, my sausage is it's huge. Yeah, it's massive. There's a lot of stuff there. So yes, you could just trawl my LinkedIn account and watch every video that I've put up there and do it. Like, go ahead. I don't mind. I wouldn't care. But if you do that, probably you were never going to be my client anyway.
Yes.
So, but you may know somebody who is going to be my client, and you're going to tell them about those videos. And ultimately, to be honest, you know, what my business is really looking for is people who can get, you know, 1,000, 2,000 people in a room and, you know, pay upwards of $25,000 to have me.
So have you speaking to that group? Yes.
Yeah. So most people are not my client anyway, but they know somebody who is.
Okay.
Or they're connected in some way, or they attend events and they say to the event organizers, "Guy, you should there's this guy on the internet and he's got these incredible videos and you should get him." So that's the reason why I give away such a lot of content is otherwise who would know about me? Most people are not my client anyway, so why not?
Okay.
And most people are connected to the people who, here's the other thing as well. Imagine you are, so I speak to a lot of sales teams, for example. So let's just say you are running a sales team, and let's just say you got 3,000 salespeople on your team, okay? You know all my content is on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Yeah, or on YouTube, okay? And you want me to train them, but you don't want to pay. What's the likelihood, do you think, that you can get your 3,000 people to watch all of an hour of my video?
And to really study it too.
Really study it.
As much as you're very interesting, I mean, I love watching your videos. I do.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm kind of addicted, I'll admit, okay? You have a fan here. But there is a major difference between watching your video, I assume I've not met you in person yet, and actually meeting you in person and seeing you in front.
Right, exactly. Oh yeah, look, I mean, just watching the videos of my work, that's really good. But if I get with you personally,
absolutely,
I can transform some elements of your life within minutes.
I have no doubt about it. No,
not because I'm some kind of wizard. I just know what I'm doing. It's just like if you take your car to a mechanic.
Exactly. No.
They can do stuff to the engine that means you're like, whoa, what?
It works again.
Car would work like this all the time, or it works again, or really, you can tune it like that.
Yeah.
In order for it to go that fast. Right? Yeah, you can, but you don't normally get that tuning. Nobody gave you that tuning. Why? Because it's really quite powerful. They don't want everybody to have that power.
But there's also something in addition. I'll give an example, which literally happened to me a week ago. See, I travel all the time. I'm a bit of a vagabond in that sense. Okay? I don't have a family, so I might as well travel. That's the way I see it. Okay? And my work is from the phone and the computer mostly, so be it. I was traveling with a friend in the countryside of France. I have a big car. It's a big truck. Okay? You know, we park somewhere, we camp the night. Next morning, we're about to start again, and literally no electricity running through the car. None whatsoever. Yeah, and I'm not much of a mechanic. You put me on a boat, I can fix up the boat. From A to Z, no problem. Put me in a car, I don't really know. We start looking, you know, and it's like, okay, it's dead. Let's go find someone, you know, we'll connect, you know, with the things that pinch, you know. Okay. We walked 2 hours to the village, you know, nearby. And this is the countryside of France. I mean, I'm talking about a village with maybe 10 families there. Okay, we saw a huge farm that was hundreds of years old. I mean, the guy comes back. He's like, okay, you know, let me come back. You know, we finally found someone in the morning. He's about to connect his battery to ours. And he's like, oh, did you notice this was loose?
Right.
Okay. We didn't even think about looking at that, which I'm assuming happens with you also. It's like people just do things without even thinking. And you're like, well, if you just do this one little thing, which is really easy, you'd probably have a huge difference.
Right. It's exactly that. Is that I know how the whole thing is wired.
Yes.
I know how you're wired up and how the perceivers of you are wired up. but most importantly, I know which wires are most important.
Okay.
That's really because some are more important than others. Okay?
You want to focus on some before others.
Right. And I know if you change some of the connections and some of the engineering, it actually changes the rest of the engineering.
Okay.
So people mess around and people look, once people start to think about behavior, they often go, gosh, wow, it's so complicated. It's so complex. And it totally is. It totally is.
Yeah.
But what a master in this area is able to do is go, it is phenomenally complex. But here's a way of looking at it, that if you look at it this way, it makes it less complex and means that you can alter things. So
Okay.
think about a vehicle engine.
Yeah.
You're going to look in there and you're going to see, number one, you're going to see in a modern vehicle engine, most of it is hidden. It's got this kind of, it's just all one
structure above that covers everything.
Right. So the structure is hidden from you.
Right.
So though you may have read something about engines and you might have owned one for a long, long time, yeah, and it's been going fine, it's kind of okay, but you suddenly go, wow, I want to be able to maneuver way better, or I want to be able to go faster, or I want to be more economical with my fuel, or, you know, a whole bunch of stuff. I want better acceleration, or I want better mileage out of it, all kinds of things. You end up looking at this engine and you just go, gosh, you know, well, it's just, I don't know, I know some stuff about it, but I can't get inside it.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay, because I know how to get inside it. And I know how it interacts with all the other engines. And I know things like, well, if you want to get better mileage, don't mess around with the engine. Just go on smoother roads. And then, and then you go, well, but I can't go on smoother roads all the time. And I go, well, not all the time.
But like, just part of the time is already much easier.
More.
Exactly.
Bit more. And then you go, well, won't that take some effort? Like, yeah, you'll have to plan your journey, won't you? But do you want to, but we could get in the engine and monkey around with that, or I could just go, there's two roads to choose. One is smoother than the other. Choose the smoother road.
Right. Yeah. So now, here's a question that I personally really want to ask you, okay? I've heard you speak oftentimes via your videos. And by the way, there's a huge sales team that I may be starting to work with in a few months. I will do everything I can to try to get you over there, because they're a telemarketing team. I'm talking about a few hundred people, yeah?
Lovely.
Marketing team, but as I'm sure you know, the way you stand and act completely translates on the phone, okay?
Of course.
But so having... You know, I've noticed you have no problem calling yourself an expert, a master at what you do, which is great. Don't get me wrong. Yes, I love it. I had a teacher who used to say, saying that you're more than you are is stupidity, but saying that you're less than you are is no less stupid. You know, it's
sure.
Did it take you time to get to that point where you were able to comfortably say that, or was it like from oh, I'm an expert?
Well, I already, once I started using body language with business communication, I already had and was known for an expertise with using nonverbal communication in visual arts.
Okay.
The TV, film. So, and I knew everybody else in that world as well. So I knew, and I was already teaching people in that, I was already training people who wanted to train other people. In that world.
Okay, yeah.
I already knew that I ranked very high.
Okay.
In that area. I was already obsessed with that area. It was my obsession. So chances were, though somebody might know something, there was no way they were going to know what I knew. Why would they? They'd have to have dedicated the amount of time that I dedicated and had the success that I had. And there weren't many of us who'd done that. So when it came to body language and business communication, I ranked just even higher.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, there were people, and there still are people from, the acting world, for example, doing communication training for keynote speakers and business people and CEOs, and just like me, it's fine. They're people from the acting world. but they haven't experienced the level that I've experienced. They don't have the experience. They haven't worked on the stages and got into the engineering and had the effect that I've had on the world of visual arts and theatre. They're not obsessed in the way that I'm obsessed. So again, you know, I look at their work and just go, God, why are you doing that? Just turn this dial here. Just say this to them, and then everything, and the cascade will happen.
We'll start. But see, that's the difference between when someone does what they truly love and are good at, and when they're just passing the time.
Yeah. So listen, I would say I'm never too sure about the do what you love thing.
Oh, hold on, let me stop.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
A job has to pay the bills. That's the person. That's the purpose of a job. But I mean, like beyond that.
Yeah. So look, I'm not sure whether I love this area. I'm just obsessed with it. I'm not sure that love is the same thing. Like, I'm not sure. It doesn't quite. I'm just totally obsessed with it. I'm just like every day. I'm just like, that is amazing. I didn't know that. I'm learning stuff just because of the people I hang around in this area and the amount of information that I take in, the amount of experimentation I still do, that I'm working with clients every day in this area. I'm obsessed. My mind's thinking about it all the time. Now, is that love? Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure it's for me. Anyway, so I'm just trying to differentiate just from my own point of view, that I'm not sure I'm doing what I love, because it's quite hard work. So sometimes you're like, oh, this is really, do I really have to do this today? And then you go, yeah, I do. I'm just obsessed with it. I can't, and I don't do anything else. As like, I'm really good at it.
Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah, I love like doing I love to put up a set of shelves. I just rebuilt the steps in the back of my building. You know, I did, and I loved doing that.
I love that you love it. You're not obsessed with it. This you're obsessed with.
I'm not obsessed with it. I don't have to go and build another set of steps and another set of steps and another. And I don't, you know, just think about them at night. And as I'm going to bed, go, oh, hang on, set of steps. Interesting. But I love doing it, and I would be happy, really happy to do that. Every day. But I'm not as good as really good builders. I'm not, and I don't have the economy around it. Like, I see how quickly they do that, and the shortcuts that they take, which get a better product quicker for less cost. Well, I'm like that with communication.
Yes.
I can get a better outcome for you faster for less energy than you were putting in. I'm just an economist. I'm obsessed with the economics.
Okay. But so here's the thing. Going back to your video about authentic being and all that, okay? Here's a problem that I've had, for example. People know that when it comes to talking, I can talk my way into and out of anything, all right? Because of that, though, I won't say friends because my friends know me, yes? But, you know, some people that know me, acquaintances, are always a little bit on edge on whether I'm playing them or I'm being, like, truthful with them.
Right.
Do you have that also?
I hope not, because I think my friends would understand.
Not friends. People in your acquaintances.
Oh, well, even okay. So here's what I would suggest is that people need to understand that we as people. Yeah. No, carry on. We as people are made up of a bunch of different personas. So this is called persona theory. So it's a theory of how we're made up. Okay. And then let me give you an example of this. The way you're talking to me now.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you talk to your mum? I assume your mum is. I'm just going to assume that you know your mother and your mother is still alive.
Yes, both are true.
Okay. Do you talk to her on the phone like you're talking to me?
Probably not.
Yeah. Okay. So you really had to think. You didn't just go yes.
No,
so my difference is you don't.
Natural.
You don't talk like this on the phone.
Right.
On the phone to her.
Yeah.
So hang on, who do I have now? If you don't talk to your mum like this, do I have the real you with me right now?
See, that's what I always say also. Yeah, okay.
Right. So they're both, the way you talk to your mum and the
They're
attitude
both
you
a
have
part of
to
me.
her and the attitude that you have with me, they're both you, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So you show up different ways with different people, but it's all you.
Well, but so do you think that some people might be thinking, oh, he's trying to affect my decision, to influence my decision? Do you think that some people may be thinking
Of course I am. Of course I am. Of course I am. Of course I am. I'm trying to get on with you. I'm trying to get better things for all of us. Yeah, of
Ah,
course I am. I don't want worse for you. I'm not trying to influence things so they'll be worse for you, and I don't not care about you.
but so people have to believe, yeah, okay. But so in that case, acquaintances have to believe it, because remember, the entire thing is that the people who are going to be watching this video, yes, learn over time how to influence people's thoughts, people's
Mm.
actions. And one of
Mm-hmm.
the biggest things that you hear back is like, but what if, my acquaintances, not friends, because friends should know you better, otherwise then they're not really friends, right? Uh,
Right.
but acquaintances, do they think that, you're trying to influence, like, just to better yourself, like to better your situation and, excuse my French, but screw them, or all good? How?
Well, I mean, are you? I mean, that's the only question is are you trying to do that?
Oh,
Are you trying to do that? Because if they think that and you are, they're right.
they're right.
It's
Absolutely.
just right. Okay, you've been found out. You're
Absolutely.
trying to covertly manipulate things so
Mhm.
that you get the better of them.
Yes.
Okay, and you're trying to covertly do it. Okay, now look, that's like, do that if you want to do that, but there's a certain price around that, and if you
Everything.
pay the price, pay the price.
Yes.
Okay. Um, but also, you can covertly change things for the better for them. Also, you can just be open with them and go, you know what, I'm gonna manipulate things so this is really better for both of us.
Yes.
So I might do that with an acquaintance and go, oh, it's really difficult having this conversation here. I think, shall we move to another place where I think it'll be easier? That was me. Okay, what I said is I made a judgment. I used my language to judge the area. I said it's really difficult having the conversation here. Now I don't know whether that's true for them,
Right.
but I use language to
It puts
present
it in their mind.
true for
Yes.
them, which means if it isn't true for them because they haven't said it out loud, they're more likely to lean to my description of the world, which is this is difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so move to somewhere else, and I might start to move as I'm saying that, which means they'll probably comply. Yeah. So I manipulated the world, but I manipulated the world and their behavior because I believed it would make it better for both of us. And I did it out loud because there's probably more compliance
Yes.
around that. Now, I could be wrong. It could have been better for them there, but I believed it would be better
Well, so
elsewhere.
when you work with groups, people, whatnot, it's not only body language; it's also the language that you use.
For sure. Body language is the entry. Body language is the entry piece of expertise
Okay.
because most people simply don't have the expertise in that
Okay.
area, and it's relatively unique. I mean, really, I can
It
name
is.
the people on pretty much one hand who have
True
not
expertise.
exactly the same expertise as me, but they have an expertise in an element of body language that means, look, this is the person to go to.
Yeah.
They're the best at what they do. Okay, so I would put myself on one hand with those
Okay.
people. Within the world of linguistics and storytelling, there's lots of people going, oh, I'm really good at that. So the market is a bit more flooded. Now, as to whether they're any good or not, possibly not.
Probably not.
But also I have an expertise in that. I've been studying how the words that we choose and especially the metaphors that we create, how the metaphors that we create alter the idea that people have about how the world works, and therefore alters their perception and behavior.
Yes.
Metaphors are really extraordinary. What a metaphor does is to say something is something that it is not. Now, that's extraordinary.
And yet somehow people understand better with a metaphor than without it.
Our whole brain works with metaphors.
Yeah.
We're designed
For
to
stories.
make things and name things something that they are not, because it communicates better. That's extraordinary. It's better for you to tell somebody that something is something that is not. It is not. They understand it better.
Yeah. Well,
it's ridiculous. We kept talking about the human brain and behavior like it was a vehicle engine. It's not. It's nothing like it. In that there is not an element of it that's the same. And yet people will have been watching or listening to this and going, oh yeah, no, a vehicle engine. Oh yeah, no, it's an engine, isn't it? It's an engine. Yeah. In fact, I wasn't even at times. Sometimes I was using simile and going, it's like, but a lot of the time I was just going, it is that. No, it's not that. I just manipulated you.
People more easily go with it.
Well, because it's the way the brain works. It works with metaphors.
Well, and people realize the brain is lazy also. Okay, if you give it a story, an entire story, and just package whatever lesson you want to give as a story, people will more easily, the brain will more easily accept it.
Well, it has a certain structure to it, and the structure is designed for economy. I wouldn't call it. I think lazy is a good metaphor. You see what you did there? The brain is lazy.
Yes.
The brain is lazy, and
let's be honest.
Is lazy. No, it's not. The brain is the brain. It's not. It doesn't have any human emotional kind of qualities within its own kind of. It's a collection of organic matter in a certain pattern. It's not. Doesn't have laziness.
Right.
It may well have economy. So. But look how, you go, the brain is lazy, and we're all nodding out now. What I did was critical thinking and go, is it lazy?
But how many people
like you're using a metaphor on me there. It may be lazy. It may be easy to view it as lazy, but the brain is the brain. So it has economies and structure. And what it does, the way its structure works is, it does best fit thinking. So if it has something new given to it, it to be like something else, for it to start the process of working out what the new thing is. Yes. So I wouldn't call that laziness. I'd just call that economy, because it's just going, well, hang on, I don't recognize this thing, but what's it like? What's it most like? And so we like simile, because that's the way the brain works, and we like metaphor. If we don't understand something completely, make it something else, and then the brain goes, oh yeah, well, I know that. I know vehicles. Yeah, I know car engines. No, you don't. You just think you do. The brain just goes, yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that.
Is this you being your authentic self for a second?
Yeah, for totally it's me. Totally it's me, because I think this stuff is so fun. I think it's so kind of fun and ridiculous how the brain works, and how we think that it works in a different way. We think that it takes in new stuff. No, it doesn't. That would be so complex for it to do.
So you know what? The way I always explain is that it takes the information that it has and it just assimilates it differently. With the, it checks what other similes are there and tries to find a connection there.
Yeah, it does best fit. It goes, it's most like this thing that I saw yesterday or have seen further. Oh, what's that person doing? Looks at that and goes, well, what's it like that I do? Oh, well, they're doing, and then it goes, well, it's like that. It's like when I do it.
Yeah.
It's like when they do it.
Different. Yeah, exactly. Probably completely.
You've done the classic thing of making other people you, because it's easier it's more economical to understand other people in the context of you. So you make other people you. We call it projection. You project onto them. Why? Because it's more economical. Is it helpful? Sometimes.
No.
Well, sometimes. Totally. Because otherwise you'd have to rethink everybody you meet.
True. But
Everybody you'd meet, you'd have to go, I have no idea about this person. No idea.
But then there's no judgment coming when you do that. When you say you have no idea, you take it as it is.
But you have no idea. If you truly do, I have no idea.
True.
They start doing something and you go, I don't know what that is. Don't know.
So maybe it's more of a way of life for me. Since I travel a lot, I meet a lot of different types of people. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what are they doing? You know, it's very different. So
you haven't gotten his like, because you travel around the world and you see behaviors that you have not seen before in a context, or see behaviors that you have seen before in a context that they aren't normally there.
Let me give you,
It's not
I'll give you an example of France, a country that I was born in, but I did not grow up here. Okay?
Yeah.
So my culture is very mixed. All right. Here, when you don't know someone, you say you, but you know, in the formal way, vous, not tu. Okay? And you say sir and ma'am, you know, and blah, 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 which is not me. I grew up in a much more laid back area. Okay. But being in France, I made an effort. Okay. And, you know, it's something that, like, I really hold myself back. I always say it. Until one day I say to a young lady, thank you, young lady. I'm not old, but, you know, she was younger. Yes.
Sure.
And she said, oh, we don't say that in France anymore. I look at her, well, but why not? Right? I mean, the assumption is that you do. And it really brought me back to the fact that when I was traveling in other countries, of which I really have no idea. I mean, France, I had a bit of an idea, but you can't assume, you can't project. You have to just accept it as is. You know, and you're always wondered, you're always saying, oh, they're doing something I completely have no idea what they're doing, right? And there's something wonderful about it also.
Absolutely. And have you noticed how tiring it is on your brain?
Yes, very.
Yeah?
Because you're always making an effort.
Right, because the brain is going, I don't know. I don't get it. Why? Why that? Why that? And there isn't enough is like. Yeah.
Yes.
So tiring places for me that I've been to, well, the most interesting tiring place is India.
Oh.
Because there is a massive similarity in language.
Yeah.
Because the British were invaders of India and ruled it for some time. Yeah, so that's why in India there's a lot of English, because we ruled, the British ruled.
Yeah, that part I knew.
Right. Yeah, okay. So so you hear words and you see English words, but then things quickly transform. They're not what you thought they were. So you thought you were in the right place. You thought that it was what you thought it was going to be, and it turns out that it isn't. So you're constantly kind of almost tricked all the time to going, oh, I get this. Wow, I don't get it anymore. You know, like you're on a motorway, for example.
Right.
3-lane motorway, and you go, oh, and they're, you know, driving on the side of the road that we normally drive in Britain, and so it's not like America.
Oh, they also drive on the left?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's all kind of how it normally is. And you know, you're speaking English to your driver, and then an elephant comes down the road. Like that's not.
That does not happen.
They're weaving in and out of each other in a way that you just go, well, in Britain we're dead right now. You can't do that.
Yeah.
They do it. They do it, and they're alive.
Oh yeah. Somehow
there's elephants on the road and camels, and you're alive. It's extraordinary. Japan is a little bit different for me in that there's not as much English happens.
Yeah.
So now I don't know anything of the language. I can't read anything.
But you can rest a little bit because you know ahead of time that there's nothing for you to really catch on to, right?
Yeah, but I want to eat.
Okay.
I want to eat. I want to eat something.
Yeah.
And there's also the thing of in India, as I've experienced, people notice when you need help, and they're like, "Oh, you need some help? Let me help you."
Yes.
Yeah? And they're quite interested in helping you, and kind of
Yeah.
In Japan, as I've experienced it, and I think this is about the embarrassment of being helped.
Okay.
The embarrassment of they won't help you. It's like, no, we're not paying any attention to that 6-foot blonde-haired guy. Like, let's just pretend he's not there.
Walk by.
That's just an embarrassment. That's just that's like, so I'm clearly like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how this works. I don't know. When last time I was in Tokyo, I tried to take the subway.
Okay.
And I was like, I can't even work out the pictorial. I'm really good with images.
Okay.
I'm really good with images. And I'm going, I don't know. And I'm just standing in front of this map, just completely lost, not knowing.
But did
nobody.
You ask him anything? Did you ask him for help?
Sure, I went and asked for help, but nobody's speaking English.
Oh. Okay.
It's like, they're like, I don't know. And then it's very embarrassing because nobody can understand each other, and that's an embarrassment. So very quickly people are going, move on. So I look very different. So they're like, what the hell are you?
Yeah. Whereas me, I'm short, so I fit in more easily in places like
that. Yeah. I'm the tallest, largest thing there. I'm just this thing in the middle of everything else, just that does not fit in. Anyway.
Have you been to Cyprus or Turkey?
I haven't been to Cyprus or Turkey.
Okay, so I just, we're talking about languages and how one word can, you can hear one word. I was asking my host while I was in Cyprus, in northern part of Cyprus, so it's Turkish. Okay, how do you say thank you? At least like that when somebody helps me, because there they help a lot. It's Middle Eastern. Okay, so they help a lot. Yeah, I said, let me at least, how do I say thank you to people who help me? She said a word and he kept on repeating it, and I was like, over a few weeks I couldn't get that word, but I kept on hearing people use a different word. Okay, and at some point, now I grew up in LA near the Beverly Hills area, which plenty of Persians. Okay, especially being Jewish, lots of Persians. So I knew the word merci that the Persians use, which comes from France. Merci.
Okay, yeah.
I am French. Yes, that should be what my first connection. And so when I look at him, I'm like, oh, you're using the Persian word. And he looks at me, he's like, are you an idiot? You're French. You're supposed to recognize this as a French word. So yeah, that's when your brain makes in a clear jump, but not all the way to its source.
Yeah, it's very interesting, this idea of having international experience. Certainly in many of the areas that I work in within business, and they're looking for leaders. One of the things often companies will look for is, has somebody got international experience?
Yeah.
Now, there may be ideas around that of, look, we're maybe an international company, and that's good for people. But what they're actually doing is going, their brain has been, if you've got international experience, your brain has gone through some quite traumatic things as it's tried to manage living in a place where the brain wasn't initially structured. Yep. So it's had to go through some radical changes. And in leadership of organization, what you're often dealing with is radical change yourself and helping others deal with radical change. Now, chances are, if you've had international experience and your brain has therefore gone through that radical change, and you stayed there, or for a number of years, it means that your brain can probably suffer another trauma and still be alive, not stop functioning. You won't go, I give up. Right. It's done it once. It can probably do it again and again and again. And if it's done it, it can probably help somebody else.
Yes.
Probably be empathetic with them.
Somebody who makes that effort.
Otherwise, you sit down a new executive that you want to hire and you go, look, we're going through change. So how are you with managing change? And they go, yeah, I'm totally fine. Well, when did you last do it?
When did this ever happen to you? Yes.
Yeah, when did it ever happen to you on that radical level that for most people, that level of change, they would give up and they'd want to spring back and they'd go, no, I will not change.
Yeah. Because
so what am I, when people say to me, what should I be doing in order to, take myself up that corporate ladder and one of the things is as well, if you can get yourself some international experience and go through that radical change,
that why you moved to
some
Toronto?
other way to do it.
Sorry, say that again? Toronto? Sorry, is that why you moved to Toronto?
I moved to Toronto?
Yeah.
No, I moved to Toronto for a number of reasons. One, things were changing in the UK. We decided to have our kids in Toronto because we could.
Yeah.
And then during that, economics changed in Canada and Toronto, and now Toronto is quite a center of, well, all kinds of things. It's an incredible kind of growing economy, so it's a great place to be.
Okay, well, sounds good. Parting words. What one life tip would you give to somebody who's just looking to, deal better with life, just live better in general? What would be your one tip towards it?
Yeah, I would say practice suspending your judgment about others.
Okay.
For a moment, suspending your judgment. Your brain is designed to jump to very quick conclusions about the world around it and to do best fit thinking and go, oh, this is like this, so it is this.
Right. Okay.
Yeah? And if you can suspend your judgment and go, well, okay, that's my judgment right now. Good, I could come back to that, but let me put that to one side for a moment and rethink this, get in more data, look at the bigger context around this, ask more questions of the thing to get more data. You sometimes find out that what you thought was something is nothing like what you thought it was. Nothing like that. Yeah, it's quite a lot of neural load to do this.
Yes.
In very important situations, it's well worth doing, suspending judgment. One of the ways to do it from a non-verbal point of view is think about the kind of body language you have when you are suspending judgment. Use that body language more.
I like that. I know that when I'm just absorbing that, I'm usually like just laying back like this a little bit more and just.
Right.
You know?
And as you say, you made this gesture.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like, bring in the information. Let me, bring it in and just.
Right. So what if, somebody comes up to you and they start talking to you and you're like, oh, I've already I know what's happening here. I've judged this. Okay. And you go, okay, suspend my judgment. Because normally if you've got a judgment, you go kind of stop them quickly and you deliver your judgment. Yeah. Or you deliver the question that you should deliver when it's that type of person because you've already judged them. But if you're just there going like this, they're going to start giving you more data. You're not going to judge it. So even you just going, and maybe there's some words that fit that.
Right.
Maybe for me, the words would be, tell me more. Tell me more.
Okay. See, I like that.
Yeah, and that is part of an interrogation process, which is you stop judging and you go, oh yeah, that's really interesting. Tell me more about that. Tell me more of the story.
Give me more information.
Give me more. Like you keep on talking. I'll just listen.
Speaking of which, did you read Chase's book?
I did. Yeah. I have it. Where is it? It's usually over there. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Hang on. Let me.
Nice.
There you go.
The freakiest thing happened to me.
Signed by Chase. There we go.
That is beautiful. Now, when I was reading his book, the freakiest thing happened to me. He contacted me via LinkedIn. I had my computer next to me. I had the book open, and also I see on LinkedIn an invitation from Chase Hughes. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And I look at him like, wait, same. Wow. It was so freaky. He reached out to me because I was in France. He wanted to check if I had anything. But anyway, that's how I met you. I'm thankful for that day that happened because I've learned a lot from you so far.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm glad Chase made that, or that connection was made through Chase. Yeah. Lovely guy, really fantastic guy. Again, a real expert in there's stuff in this book that I've not seen anywhere else.
Me too.
There's stuff in there, and I'm pretty. Look, I know a lot of the stuff in. I know a lot of the stuff in here. Yeah. But nobody has put it together
in such a concise and organized manner.
Nobody's done that,
right?
And then come up out of it with the techniques.
Yes.
he has.
Yes.
Because you're there going, yeah, good. I know you've referenced that, and it's like it's well referenced as well. You've referenced that, and you've referenced that, and yeah, that'll totally work. And then he comes up with a go, and I go, oh, that's brilliant.
Well,
that thing there is really so. There's some brilliant stuff in that.
There is. For me, it was a lot of the things in there I had studied in my past. Because when it comes to training, I received very good training over the course of a few years. But having someone be able to, just put it all in one place in an organized manner that you can read and go back to and study. I mean, some things come from your gut at some point. Some things come out of habit, right?
Right.
And seeing it detailed like that, which reminds me, you have 4 books, 5 books?
I've got 4 books. Yeah, so the first one, Winning Body Language. Last one that I've done is Truth and Lies. Okay. And there's 2 in between.
Mark, it was
which are not just sitting here.
That's fine. Mark, it was a pleasure having you. Truly
Great.
A pleasure.
Great to speak to you.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Great speaking to you. And anytime you want to chat again, you know where I am.
I absolutely will. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Good to see you. Bye now.